Today, a special series begins. 3 consecutive days in which Lilith will speak loudly in the sky and within you. The first confrontation is with Venus, and it will expose what love tries to hide. Prepare yourself. For the next 3 days, the wildest, most authentic, and most non-negotiable energy of our astral chart, the archetype of Lilith, will take center stage. She is not a planet, but a point of raw power. The part of us that refuses to be tamed, to smile for convenience, or to negotiate her truth. And this week, she has orchestrated a journey of revelation in 3 acts, a trilogy of confrontations designed to awaken us to our own authenticity. It is as if Lilith were demanding 3 revelations in the body, in the soul, and in the mind. The journey begins today, with the clash between our desire and our image. Lilith in Scorpio challenges Venus in Leo, and with that, the truth of our body and our raw desire collides with the mask we wear to be loved. Tomorrow, the confrontation will be with the sun, the center of our identity, questioning who we are when no one is applauding. And finally, on the 3rd day, the challenge will be to Mercury, forcing us to give voice to the truth that the first 2 days revealed. 3 days, 3 truths, and none of them can be silenced. This will not be a comfortable journey. Lilith's truth rarely is, but it will be productive. The goal is not to destroy, but to purify. It is to break the illusion so that what is real can finally breathe. What we will do together, starting now, is navigate the first act of this cosmic drama, the tense and revealing encounter between the goddess of love and the queen of the night. Today's event is built upon a fundamental tension. In the language of astrology, we call this a square. Think of a crossroads, an impasse where 2 powerful forces meet at a 90-degree angle. There is no easy path forward. The tension demands awareness, a decision, an action. It is an aspect of productive discomfort, designed to break stagnation and force growth. And today, the 2 forces at this crossroads are 2 of the most potent feminine energies in our chart. Venus, the goddess of love and value, and Lilith, the archetype of our wild and non-negotiable truth. To understand the clash, we must first know the protagonists. On one side of the stage, we have Venus in the sign of Leo. Venus rules what we value, how we love, what gives us pleasure, and how we relate. In Leo, the sign of the sun, of brilliance, of royalty, and of self-expression, Venus longs for a love that is grand, celebrated, and worthy of applause. She does not want a hidden love. She wants a love that can be displayed with pride, like a rare jewel. Her language is that of adoration, of dramatic loyalty, of a generosity that makes her feel special and seen. Venus in Leo represents our need to be loved in a way that validates our brilliance, that reinforces our ego and our self-esteem. She is the part of us that builds an image of a relationship and of personal value that is beautiful, harmonious, and above all, admirable in the eyes of the world. She wants to keep the peace, as long as that peace keeps her at the center of the stage, receiving the light. On the other side, in the shadows of the crossroads, is Lilith, in the sign of Scorpio. Lilith is not a goddess. She is a point of raw power. She is our primordial, instinctive nature, the part of us that refuses to be exiled or tamed. In Scorpio, the sign of power, of secrets, of sexuality, of transformation, and of deep psychological truths, Lilith's force becomes overwhelming. Lilith in Scorpio lives in the underground of our psyche. She is the guardian of our taboo desires, of our unconfessable fantasies, of our thirst for power, and of our need for a fusion of souls that goes beyond the superficial. She despises performance, appearance, the harmony that is built on unsaid truths. She does not want to be admired. She wants to be consumed by the truth. Her language is not that of praise, but of intensity, of raw vulnerability, of the power that is only found when one has the courage to look at one's own shadow. Today, these two forces collide. The queen who wants to maintain the image of a perfect and celebrated love, Venus in Leo, is confronted by the sorceress who lives in the basement and who knows all the dirty secrets and non-negotiable desires, Lilith in Scorpio, and it is here that your key phrase becomes the prophecy of the day. When these two face each other, everything you try to please can shatter before what you truly desire. The need to maintain the beautiful image comes into direct conflict with the need to honor true desire. The part of you that wants to be socially accepted goes to war with the part that longs for authenticity at any cost. Today, Lilith refuses to stay in the basement. She comes up the stairs and exposes, in the middle of Venus's well-lit living room, the raw truth that was hidden in the name of harmony. The discomfort you may feel today is the tremor of this internal confrontation. The confrontation between Venus in Leo and Lilith in Scorpio is not an abstract drama that happens millions of kilometers away. It is a psychological tension that settles within us and manifests through us. In our lives, in our relationships, in our mirror, the discomfort that hangs in the air today, that intimate and awkward feeling that something is out of place, is the evidence that this battle of archetypes is happening on the stage of your soul. Your task today is not to resolve the conflict, but to have the courage to observe it. Recognizing these symptoms is not an act of weakness, but the first step toward the liberation that this trilogy promises. Let's detail the three main areas where this productive discomfort manifests. The first and most immediate is that of exposed relationships. Venus in Leo longs for a visible harmony, for a love that seems perfect, loyal, and worthy of admiration. She is the part of us that posts the happy photo, that avoids conflict to keep the peace, that prides itself on having a stable connection. Lilith in Scorpio, on the other hand, inhabits the subterranean truth of the relationship, the unsaid power dynamics, the ignored emotional needs, the desires and resentments that bubble under the surface. Today, Lilith refuses to cooperate with the performance. The result is the sudden exposure of the truth. This can manifest in a conversation that unexpectedly becomes brutally honest, where what was just a whisper of dissatisfaction becomes a scream. It could be a sudden feeling of intolerance or even revulsion for a partner's behavior that you used to let slide in the name of peace. It could be the emergence of themes like jealousy, manipulation, or intimate frustration, which shatter the golden image your Venus in Leo was trying to sustain. If you find yourself in the middle of a relational crisis today, understand this. It is not love that is in crisis, it is the mask. The second symptom is the internal conflict between desire and image. This is the battle that happens within you, between the person you are in your rawest desires and the person you present to the world to be accepted and loved. Venus in Leo is your public image, your personal brand, the reputation you have built. She wants to be the good professional, the loyal friend, the ideal partner, the spiritually evolved person. Lilith in Scorpio is your non-negotiable desire. It is your will to power, your vital energy, your anger, your need for depth, your secret ambitions, everything that does not fit perfectly into the polished image you project. Today, this conflict becomes acute. You may feel an overwhelming desire to do something improper, something that would tarnish your image, like confronting an authority, or expressing a forbidden fantasy, or simply saying no to something your nice image has always said yes to. This internal division is painful. It is the sharp awareness of how much of your life is lived for the audience and how little energy is dedicated to nurturing your wildest and most authentic truth. Finally, the third symptom is a crisis with self-image and self-worth. Venus in Leo seeks her value in the reflection of others' eyes. Her value is measured in applause, in praise, in admiration. She feels beautiful and powerful when the world confirms her beauty and her power. Lilith in Scorpio, on the other hand, finds her value in her own internal power, in her resilience, in her ability to survive and transform, in the darkness, even when no one is watching or applauding. Today's square forces a fundamental reevaluation of your source of self-esteem. You may look in the mirror and feel a sudden discomfort, not with your physical appearance, but with the performance. You may feel an aversion to beauty standards or social expectations you previously tried to achieve. The question that echoes in your soul is, does my value depend on external validation? Or does it exist innately in my raw strength, in my scars, in my truth, even in the parts the world does not consider beautiful? This discomfort is not a sign that you have lost your value. It is the sign that you are beginning to look for it in the right place, inside yourself. The external dilemma, desire versus image. The internal war we described in the previous chapter between the need to be admired and the urgency to be authentic does not remain contained within our psyche for long. Today, under the pressure of the square between Venus and Lilith, this conflict overflows. It spills over into our choices, our actions, and our interactions. The battle ceases to be a feeling and becomes a practical dilemma. In various areas of your life today, you may feel placed at a crossroads, forced to make a choice that exposes the exact distance between the image you project and the desire you feel. It is the moment when the performance becomes unsustainable and the truth demands a decision. Observe how this manifests in your professional life and your career. Venus in Leo represents your professional pride, your resume, your reputation, the path that generates applause and recognition. Lilith in Scorpio represents your raw power, your real passion, the work that may not be glamorous, but that fills you with a sense of purpose and power. Today, these two forces are in check. An opportunity may arise, a promotion, a project, a proposal that is fantastic for your image, Venus, but that your intuition, Lilith, rejects with a visceral force because it knows that it will trap you or distance you from your true calling. Or the opposite, a sudden and irresponsible desire may arise to abandon a safe and prestigious path to follow a passion that no one understands, but that your deepest self knows is the right way. The dilemma at work today is not about what is better, but about who you are working for your image or for your soul. This same dilemma echoes in your social relationships and friendships. Venus in Leo loves the social stage. She wants to be seen, wants to belong to the right group, wants to maintain harmony and be the popular person liked by all. Lilith in Scorpio, on the other hand, despises superficiality. She longs for soul connections, for real conversations, for an intensity that most social environments cannot offer. Today, the simple idea of socializing out of obligation may seem like torture. You may feel torn between going to that event to keep up appearances, Venus, and the overwhelming need to be alone or to have a single deep conversation with a single person. Lilith, you may feel unable to participate in futile conversations with your inner Lilith wanting to expose the unsaid truth in the middle of the group. It is the confrontation between your social persona and your need for emotional authenticity. The question that hangs in the air is, do your connections nourish your image or nourish your truth? Finally, observe this dilemma in your consumer and lifestyle choices. Venus in Leo expresses herself through what is beautiful, luxurious, and that projects an image of success and good taste. The clothes you wear, the car you drive, the places you frequent, all of this can be an extension of your need to be admired. Lilith in Scorpio does not care about aesthetics. She cares about power and truth. Today, you may look at the objects and the lifestyle you have built and feel a sudden aversion. You may realize that the things you bought to impress others are, in fact, cages that trap you in an image that no longer serves you. A desire for simplicity may arise, for more raw and real experiences, for stripping away everything that is just a facade. It is the crisis between having to show and being to feel. The dilemma that presents itself is about what you truly value: the external symbols of success or the internal feeling of power and authentic freedom. In each of these areas, today's tension does not offer an easy answer. Its purpose is only to expose the question, forcing you to face the abyss between who you appear to be and who you really are. The hidden benefit of the tension. After traversing the uncomfortable landscape of our internal and external conflicts, the question naturally arises: for what? What is the purpose of a transit that generates so much friction, that exposes our divisions with such awkward clarity? The answer is the key to understanding Lilith's wisdom and the true gift of this square. In the language of the soul, discomfort is never the final goal. It is the tool. The tension you feel today is a diagnostic instrument of surgical precision. It is an internal compass that, by pointing to what hurts, is actually pointing to what needs to be healed, to what is misaligned with your deepest truth. The confrontation between Venus and Lilith does not happen to punish us, but to purify us. It is fundamental to understand this. Lilith is not an enemy of love. On the contrary, she is the guardian of its purest and most powerful form. Venus in Leo longs for love and validation, which is a legitimate human need. The trap is when, to guarantee this love and admiration, we begin to negotiate our truth, to edit our soul, to hide the parts of ourselves we consider less lovable or socially acceptable. It is here that Lilith in Scorpio intervenes. She refuses to participate in this theater. Her loyalty is not with external harmony, but with internal integrity. She represents the part of us that would rather be alone in its truth than be applauded in a lie. Today's confrontation, therefore, is not to destroy your ability to love or be loved. It is to test the authenticity of that love. It is here that our key phrase reveals its transformative power. This square does not destroy love. It destroys the illusion of love. Think about this. What is being challenged today is not true love, the kind based on mutual acceptance, truth, and vulnerability. What is being put to the test is performative love. It is the relationship that is sustained by its image, but which lacks real intimacy. It is the need to please that makes us swallow our own needs. It is the self-image that depends on praise to feel valid. It is the harmony that is bought at the price of our silence. All of these are illusions of love. They are contracts of convenience that our ego signs, but that our soul does not recognize. Today's tension makes the cost of maintaining these illusions unbearably high. The discomfort is the sign that your soul is no longer willing to pay this price. And what is the result of this purification? What happens when the fire of Lilith's truth burns the golden facade of Venus? The answer is the final promise of this transit. What remains will be authentic. The relationship that survives a brutally honest conversation today is a relationship with real foundations. The desire that persists, even if it scares your public image, is a desire that comes from your soul. The self-esteem you find by refusing to perform for others is a self-esteem that no one can take from you. The hidden benefit of all of today's tension is clarity. It is the opportunity to see, without filters, what in your love life and in your values is real, and what was just decoration. And although the process of letting go of the decoration may be uncomfortable, what it leaves behind is a solid ground upon which one can finally build a true love. Today's journey was a dive into the crossroads of our heart. The confrontation between Venus in Leo and Lilith in Scorpio forced us to look at the complex web of our relationships, values, and desires. It illuminated the abyss that sometimes exists between the image we project to the world and the raw truth that inhabits our innermost selves. The discomfort, the tension, the dilemma, none of it was a sign of error. It was a sign that our soul is demanding a new level of honesty. The benefit of this transit is not easy harmony, but hard-won clarity, the clarity of knowing what is real and what is just performance. This clarity is the bedrock upon which a truly authentic life can be built, and the work of purification that began today is only the first step of a deeper journey. This is only the beginning. Lilith will have 3 consecutive days of revelations. Today, she challenged your heart and your desire. She questioned what your love tries to hide. Tomorrow, she challenges your identity before the sun. The question will be, who are you when the applause stops? Who are you in your essence without external validation? And then, on the 3rd day, she challenges your voice with Mercury, asking if you have the courage to express the truth that these first 2 days have revealed. 3 days, 3 truths, and none of them can be silenced. To embark on this journey with Lilith is an act of courage. It is the decision to choose yourself, to choose the truth, no matter how uncomfortable it may be. It is the commitment to stop negotiating your soul in exchange for acceptance. If you have felt the call, if you recognize your own truth in today's tensions, and if you are ready to continue this radical investigation of yourself, anchor that intention. Make your participation conscious. Like this video, share it with another person you know is navigating the complex waters of love and desire, and declare your commitment to this journey in the comments with the word that defines Lilith's mission, the word she demands above all else: truth. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss tomorrow's confrontation with the sun, the second and crucial act of this powerful revelation. The journey continues.